Crystal Gayle emerged as one of the rare artists whose presence felt less like performance and more like comfort. With a voice soft as silk and an unmistakable gentleness, she became a symbol of warmth in a world often defined by noise. Her singing carried the ache of longing, the calm of reflection, and the emotional clarity of someone who understood sorrow deeply. From the earliest moments of her career, Crystal's sound stood apart, not because it demanded attention, but because it invited listeners inward. She didn't overpower emotions, she cradled them. Over decades, her music became a companion for late nights, quiet drives, and moments when words failed. She wasn't simply a singer delivering melodies, but a storyteller shaping feelings into something bearable. That tenderness, consistent and unforced, allowed her voice to transcend trends and generations, remaining deeply personal to millions. Roots in Appalachia and a childhood of scarcity born, Brenda Gayle Webb on January 9, 1951 in Paintsville, Kentucky. Crystal Gayle's earliest years were shaped by hardship and closeness. She grew up in a coal mining family where money was scarce and survival required resilience. The rhythms of her childhood were marked by long workdays, shared responsibilities, and an unspoken understanding that everyone contributed. Music entered her life not as ambition, but as refuge. Singing offered relief from the weight of uncertainty and became a space where fear softened. When her father passed away while she was still young, the loss left an imprint that never fully faded. It taught her, early on, the fragility of stability and the depth of quiet grief. Living in the shadow of a famous sister, Crystal's journey unfolded alongside the towering presence of her older sister, Loretta Lynn. While Loretta's success opened doors, it also cast a long shadow that Crystal struggled to step beyond. Early in her career, she was frequently introduced as Loretta's little sister, a label that followed her into studios, interviews, and public perception. Though proud of Loretta, Crystal quietly wrestled with the fear of being seen as an extension rather than an individual. Comparisons were constant, and expectations were heavy. She carried admiration and pressure in equal measure. Instead of rebelling, Crystal responded with patience, allowing time and self-discovery to shape her identity. Finding her own sound and artistic freedom. True transformation came when Crystal was encouraged to stop imitating tradition and start listening inward. A change in record labels and collaboration with a producer who recognized her unique tone allowed her to explore a softer, more polished style. Rather than leaning into the raw Appalachian power associated with her sister, Crystal embraced subtlety. Her voice became lighter, more intimate, almost conversational. This shift wasn't merely technical, it was personal. For the first time, she felt seen as herself. Songs recorded during this period reflected vulnerability and restraint, proving that emotional strength doesn't require volume. This artistic freedom marked a turning point, one where Crystal stepped fully into her own space. The industry noticed, but more importantly, she did. Confidence replaced doubt, and authenticity replaced expectation, setting the stage for the defining moment of her career, the song that changed everything. When Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue was released, it quietly reshaped Crystal Gayle's life. The song's simplicity, paired with her delicate delivery, resonated across genres and borders. It wasn't dramatic or forceful, but it lingered. Audiences felt its honesty immediately. The track climbed charts worldwide, earning awards and opening doors to new audiences far beyond country music. Yet its power came from restraint. Crystal sang as though sharing a private confession rather than chasing a hit. That intimacy became her signature. The success of the song marked her arrival not just as a star, but as a bridge between musical worlds. Country, pop, and adult contemporary listeners all found themselves reflected in her voice. It was the moment she fully stepped out of comparison and into legacy. Redefining country pop with grace. Throughout the late 1970s and 1980s, Crystal Gayle helped redefine what country music could be. Her style softened traditional boundaries, making the genre more accessible without losing its emotional core. She didn't abandon roots, she refined them. Her songs blended storytelling with melody, sorrow with elegance. This approach influenced a generation of artists who followed, particularly women seeking space for subtlety and emotional nuance. Crystal proved that strength could be gentle and success could be quiet. Her performances were marked by calm confidence rather than spectacle. In doing so, she expanded the possibilities of country pop, allowing it to grow without erasing its heart. The industry shifted as listeners embraced a sound that felt both familiar and new, largely because of her willingness to trust softness as power. A career built on consistency, not noise. Crystal Gayle's success was remarkable not only for its scale, but for its steadiness. She avoided the dramatic rises and falls common in the entertainment world, choosing balance over excess. Her career spanned decades with consistent respect from audiences and peers alike. Awards, chart positions, and honors followed, but they never defined her sense of worth. She approached fame with humility, focusing on craft rather than image. This consistency allowed her to evolve naturally, exploring jazz standards, inspirational music, and classic American songbooks. Each project reflected curiosity rather than reinvention. Crystal's longevity came from sincerity. She didn't chase trends or provoke attention. She trusted that honest work would endure. In an industry driven by spectacle, her quiet dedication became a rare and enduring model. Love, family, and a grounded private life. Away from the spotlight, Crystal built a life centered on stability and trust. Her marriage to Bill Gatzimos became one of the quiet constants of her journey. Their partnership blended personal and professional support, offering balance amid demanding schedules. Family remained a priority, and she approached motherhood with the same care she brought to music. Crystal worked to shield her children from the pressures of fame, creating a sense of normalcy whenever possible. Home life provided grounding, a place where she could exist beyond public identity. This intentional separation between career and personal life preserved her sense of self. It also reinforced the values rooted in her upbringing. For Crystal, success was never meant to replace connection, it was meant to support it. Grief, loss, and emotional endurance. Despite a life of achievement, Crystal Gayle carried deep personal losses. The early death of her father shaped her understanding of impermanence, while later losses tested her resilience. The passing of her sister Loretta Lynn marked a profound emotional shift. Beyond public mourning, it was the loss of a shared history, a bond formed long before fame. Crystal responded to grief not with retreat from meaning, but with reflection. Music remained a companion, though no longer a shield. These experiences deepened the emotional texture of her performances. When she sang, audiences felt not just beauty, but lived experience. Her endurance wasn't about denying pain. It was about allowing it to coexist with grace. That balance became one of her quiet strengths. Choosing peace in later years. As time passed, Crystal gradually stepped back from constant touring and public demands. This transition wasn't marked by retirement, but by intention. She chose peace over momentum, reflection over repetition. Performances became selective, shaped by desire rather than obligation. Life slowed into rhythms defined by family, home, and personal fulfillment. This phase reflected wisdom earned through decades of balance. Crystal didn't disappear, she simply adjusted the volume of her presence. Her voice, though softened by time, gained warmth and depth. Audiences who heard her during these years often described a sense of closeness, as though she were singing directly to memory rather than crowd. It was a continuation, not an ending. A legacy of gentle strength. Gayle's legacy is not built solely on hits or accolades, but on the emotional space she created for listeners. She proved that tenderness could be powerful, that restraint could move hearts, and that authenticity could sustain a lifetime. Her influence echoes through artists who value subtlety and sincerity. Beyond music, she offered an example of how to navigate fame without losing humanity. Her career reminds us that quiet voices can shape culture just as deeply as loud ones. Crystal's songs remain woven into personal histories, moments of reflection, and shared memories. That enduring presence is her true achievement. She didn't seek to dominate the spotlight. She chose instead to illuminate it gently, leaving behind a body of work defined by grace, empathy, and lasting emotional truth.